I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to help. Being in Haque
Okay.
Academy was a big thing for me. So football
I'm
has
happy to
always
be here.
been a thing that has been engraved in me since I was a young kid. I was always I grew up an athletic kid. I always I was never the type of kid to like sit inside and play video games, that type of stuff. Like my parents would always want me outside. So football, I started playing when I was like four, and ever since I touched the pitch, I was just different. I just played so much different than all the other kids, and honestly, I can give that credit to my mom and my dad because they took the took the initiative to put me in that sport early on. They were able to see that I had something that other kids don't. And because of that initiative from my parents, I was able to fall in love with the sport from a very young age. And obviously sports in general is a very complex, field to be in. Like in general, it's just the top 0.1% make it in sports. So being in sports, you need to be in it at a very, very young age, right? So that initiative that my parents took to put me into the sport at like 4 years old, 5 years old, really helped me, carry on with my life. And football I've always been in love with since a young age, 4 or 5 years old. It was just everything. I played football in Haque Academy in eighth grade. I was the only eighth grader. So how it goes is sixth, seventh, eighth, and then there's 9, 10, 11, right?
Yeah.
So the varsity team was usually the older kids, 9, 10, and 11. And I had came in eighth grade. I had shifted from America. So I was
Okay.
the only eighth grader out of the bunch to play with the varsity team, which was all 9, 10th, 11th grade. So it was a
Oh,
really, coming from America was a pretty big thing for me, just to come in and be placed in the team where I'm playing with people who are so much older than me, better than me. It was a good learning experience. I grew up in America. I grew up in the States, obviously, Florida. So I played football there my whole life. But towards the end, when I was shifting to Pakistan, it was very hard on my mental health because obviously you grow
of
up
course.
in a place where you have all your friends, all your school and everything, and then you're taking that leap to go to a new country now, right? So my football was getting impacted. I was not doing my best. My game was falling off, and my confidence was dropping. My passion, my love for the sport was dropping. But then moving to Pakistan kind of gave me that new opportunity, especially in Huck with Sir Essen. He kind of instilled that passion back in me, and it gave me the confidence, especially when I was told that I could play for the varsity team. And his decision to put me there at the right place at the right time, it really brought that spark back and that confidence back in me to play again. So one thing when it comes to sports is you need to know the system. And
Oh,
and the unfortunate thing about Pakistan is that there's no development of football there. It's very messy. It's very like there's nowhere to go. There's no bridge to take the youth, the upcoming talents to the next level, right? So I knew this coming from America. I knew the system coming from abroad, playing football from abroad. So I knew that I'm gonna have to get out in order to put my name out there.
okay.
So in 2022, I did a summer camp for a team in Spain, and it was called Malaga City. I did summer camp there, and then that was in 2023. In 2022, I went to England to do a summer camp with Tottenham Hotspurs, which is
Oh,
a very big
wow.
Premier League team. So
Okay.
that sort of gave me the idea of how the football system really works. That it's not all about talent and potential, but it's all about just being at the right place at the right time. So after that, coming to Karachi, getting my experience playing for like teams here, Abdul FC, Nixer, Huck. So I needed to take that initiative to, what's the next step now? Because football and sports in general is it's a field where you can't get too old. Once you get to a age limit, why would a team want me when they can pick a person like me who's at my level but younger than me, right? I feel like that's when it sort of lit up in me because I actually went through a very like rough last 2 3 years, like very very after I left Haque Academy, I wanted to come to Nixer, and I was very excited for my career in Nixer. But the problem was, I was also balancing. I did another sport, MMA, with it because after I come to Nixer and play all these tournaments, and I was out for the whole season, and
Oh,
then KUSC came, which is the biggest tournament in like Karachi, and I got
yes.
to play that. I got to play that, and I did pretty good, but we lost in the semifinals to Cedar, which is very unfortunate. And that with the injury, and then also feeling like I came back and I didn't do good enough. It really took a big mental toll on me. And then after I covered my shoulder and everything, I had trials in England and I blew out my ankle. And that also took
Oh,
another big toll on me. And I'm fighting all these injuries. And now I can't do these trials because my ankle is also, I rolled my ankle. So I missed
yeah,
all the England trials. Then in Nixer, the second year, I played the whole year. But when it's time for KUSC, it's reverse now. It's time for KUSC. I pulled my hamstring. And so we did KUSC and we made it to the quarterfinals. And obviously me kind of being one of the bigger players in Nixer, I had a lot of pressure on me. And
yeah,
I was like, the last year we didn't win it, but this time it's my year. I'm gonna shine this year. And we get to the quarterfinals. And before the game, I was telling my coach my hamstring is, it's a little hurting, and he's like, well, let's see what we can do. And I just run. And the video kind of went viral on my Insta page, and I just pulled my hamstring, and I was done for the whole tournament. And
so
that
all
took
these
a really big
injuries.
toll. Kind of afterwards, it put me into a bad mental state. But I feel like that's when people really determine who they are in any profession. It's like when you hit the bottom, where can you go from there? Are you able to bounce back? Because even in entrepreneurs, in businessmen, in businesswomen, in any sort of profession, sports, it's your ability to bounce back when you're knocked down. And after that, all those injuries, all that mental pain I went through, I was at my point where I had to tell myself, Abdul, are you going to get back up or are you going to stay down? And that's when I told myself, now is the time. So, I pulled a few strings with my, because obviously I played football in America. So I knew a few people there, and I got in touch with an agent in Madrid, and he set me up for this. It was like a draft. So in the
Oh,
NFL
wow.
NBA, they have these sort of draft systems to pick your players. And how it works
Okay.
is they all play, and then usually from college, and then teams will take turns picking, oh, I want this player, I want this player, I want this player. So it's kind of like
Oh,
that for Leganés, obviously. It was a draft. There was a lot of players. There are 300, 500 players there.
wow.
And, you know, the hard work paid off. I'm not going to say it's luck because I worked really hard for it. And I got selected. So
Mhm.
here I am. And the shift was hectic. The shift was really hectic because I had to go from Karachi to Madrid. I don't know Spanish. I'm trying to learn the language. So in order
Oh,
to apply for my student visa here, I have to leave the country. So then I fly out to London because I have family there. I stayed with them. I applied for my visa, and then I come back to Madrid. And then the whole where am I going to stay? Where am I going to live situation? And then eventually it all got sorted. A typical day for me would be like, I think 10:30, 11, we have training. So I'll wake up. I always wake up 2 hours before training to have my breakfast, to sort of visualize, to sort of chill. And then the commute towards the training is like 30 minutes, 45 minutes. So
yes.
if training's at 10 a.m., I'll wake up at 8. I'll have my breakfast, I'll get my clothes out, I'll get ready, sort of meditate, visualize a bit how I want the training session to go. And then obviously I leave with a few of the other guys here, and we all go together towards the training. And training is hard. Yeah, it's not an easy thing. It's
Yeah.
intense, and frankly, it's hotter than Karachi. It's very
Oh,
hot here. And Karachi has humid heat, but over here it's like Sahara Desert, like dry heat. It's very dry.
oh,
And the coaches are no joke. They push us to our limits. And then when we hit our limits, they'll push us even harder. So
oh,
training we'll have, and then we'll all basically be like dead by after training. Like we're just exhausted. We'll come back, we'll have lunch, and then I'll shower, change, most likely take a nap. And then after I'm done with my nap, we have the place I stay in, the residence. We have a gym, so I'll go down, do some light biking, some stretching, and then on the side, I actually do investment trading in United States stocks and forex. So I sort of run my own group there,
oh,
so I can work on that too. And then it's we always sleep early though. The thing I like about this place is very diverse. It's very
okay.
culturally diverse, right? There's people from Nigeria, there's people from
Oh,
Sweden. There's a lot of the Spanish players here. There's a lot of French players. There's a lot of Brazilians, Mexicans. It's very diverse. So you have
okay.
all these different types of people, bringing their style of football in, their style of culture in. So it just creates a good mix. And me, obviously, being the only Pakistani there. The thing is, when it comes to skills, if you're good enough, you see how I see it, passport aside, everything aside, culture aside, skin color aside, everything gender aside, if you're good enough, you'll make it. It's very simple. Because if you go to an area, that's like, me applying to a mathematics competition, right? And regardless of my passport, regardless of my gender or who I am, if I'm good enough and I get a high enough grade, I'm gonna get noticed. right? So I feel like, people put too much emphasis on the passports. Sure, maybe there might be complications when you're shifting there or stuff like that. So because I feel like a lot of people are so scared that they're not gonna succeed that they don't even try, which is the biggest version of failure, is not even trying, right? So it's very simple. If you're good enough, you'll get noticed. If you're not, then you need to work hard. My biggest advice would be is become a good student athlete. Become a really good student athlete, because uh, becoming a student athlete requires a lot of discipline, like a lot of discipline. You need to be up at this time, you're sleeping at this time, studying at this time, eating at this time. Like, I feel like a lot of people nowadays just go with the flow, like, whatever happens happens. But in order to become an athlete, you need to be like committed to everything. You need to be, at this time I'm going to be doing this, at this time I'm going to be doing that, and at this time I have to study. And when you sort of have that study to the pressure to study too alongside with your athletics, it sort of helps shape you into a person where you're able to, when something's thrown at you, oh, I have an exam next Saturday, but I also have a tournament, but I can adjust. I'm not scared. I'm flexible. I'm comfortable with being uncomfortable. So definitely that. And believe in yourself. Don't be scared of what other people think, and embrace the uncomfortable. Be comfortable with becoming uncomfortable. You need to throw yourself out there, because if you're gonna fail, then fail in the ocean. That's what my mom used to tell me. If anything, if you're gonna fail, you might as well, fail in the ocean. So it's best to just throw yourself out there and get used to being uncomfortable, and really focus on doing the extra step. Because if I do, like, for example, let's say me and you are athletes, and our coach gives us this workout, and me and you are both doing it. If me and you are both doing the same thing, we're going to become the same person. We're going to like the same level, right? Because we're
The
both
same
doing the
level.
same workout. But if I choose to put in that extra rep, that extra set, that extra little bit, then in the end, I'm going to be here and you're going to be here, right? So it's all about the extra. Are you willing to put the extra into your craft, whether that's athletics, mathematics, you want to become a scientist, an astronaut? Are you willing to put in the extra step, the extra leap? And are you willing to shape your mental side? Because the thing is, football is not, it's physical, but it's very mental. Everything is just mental, mental, mental. And any profession, you need, your mental needs to be there. So you need to build a strong mentality if you want to, continue the sport.